whatnot. I don't get it. I'm such a moron sometimes. Whatnot. I don't get it. I'm such a moron sometimes.
Told of a creature that was 6.5 to 7 feet tall.
The CIA ran secret mind control experiments.
It's a tale of a creature that's been seen by many, but believed by few.
And experts say there have been reported sightings of paranormal activity.
And there was this creature, and it ran down this hill.
They say something was flying over their house, and they have no idea what it was.
How the world's most powerful individuals are actually shape-shifting reptilians.
My scariest ghost hunting experience.
Good evening and welcome. It is Tuesday night. You know what that means. It is Paranormal IRL. I'm your host, JV Johnson, along with Britt Griffith, as we get ready to talk mermaids tonight. Britt, I know that you have a lot of questions. And I have to say, I have the benefit of having talked with our guest, Elyrria Swann, previously. She's been on the program before. What a terrific person. Very it puts all this into terms that even you, yes, you, Britt, can understand. You always start your questioning by saying, pretend I'm a third grader, thinking that'll make them think more of you than normal. But I just know she's going to be able to answer
first grader, but I mean, then they're going to have finger paints and crayons. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't want them to feel like they have to go that level. At least a third grader you can kind of talk to. So that's where I'm going. But I have an observation.
Okay.
Every time we start, in case this radio thing doesn't work out for you.
Yeah.
This opening theme, I find myself always dancing to it, and I'm thinking, damn, we need JV Sir Mix-a-Lot. I mean, you could make it as a DJ, the new Fandangle Today rave DJ, because you put that all together, and it's like, I would think that someone would pay thousands of dollars for that mix. It's actually really catchy, and it makes me want to dance. That's all I gotta say.
The funny thing is my history with you, I know there are very few things that actually make you want to dance. In general, things make you not want to dance.
True.
So if that makes you want to dance, that's quite.
I'm not a good dancer.
That's quite a statement you're making there, and I take a lot of pride in that now. Now that you've said that, I'm very prideful of that.
No. Yeah, and in all seriousness, I know I'm busting your balls, but I mean, in all seriousness, that's really good. It makes me, it's energetic, upbeating, it makes me want to dance. But I just want to point that out that I think you have if this radio thing doesn't work out for you,
yeah.
I think you have a career in the DJ mixing business at raves to all the blue and pink haired
interesting
millennials.
Well,
and I don't know what's below millennials. Anyway, how was your weekend?
It
was a long
was fun.
weekend.
I just want to point out, though, how many more years should I give the radio thing? Because I've been in it about 30-something already. Should I go another 20 before I determine whether or not I can do this or not?
Honestly, if I were giving you life coaching lessons, I would say you should probably look for the DJ career. That's probably where you should focus your energy
now,
because owning 30 radio stations, and being retired at 50, that's a failure in life. So you should probably.
He's saying it with a straight face. I'm actually starting to think he might be onto something here. I don't know.
I can't keep it going.
Anyway, as I mentioned,
it's just a great job. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
To this day, it still makes me want to dance in my seat.
Good. Well, I hope it makes everybody who's filing into our chat rooms want to dance as well. And also little giggles going on in that little pre-show sequence. We had to have something on there so people knew that it was actually live and not something that was just a static picture. So that helps out. Britt being abducted by the Bigfoot, the UFO, the ghost. Yeah.
If I had one critique, though, all you do is pick out the stupid shit I say, and there's not one stupid thing that you say in there.
Well, it's not my job to pick out the stupid shit I say. That's your job. So if you want stupid shit of me saying stupid shit, you're going to have to find it and clip it out and do something with it.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
Checking.
All right.
How was your weekend?
It was fine. It was a nice holiday weekend. It was extended, which is nice. I had to move my son. He moved back from Connecticut, so that was a lot of lifting and moving and driving and stuff. But other than that, it was great.
So you're sore.
Yeah, a little bit sore. I mean, I didn't lift too much. I don't lift too many things anymore. I'm tired of doing that. I did that a long time. Don't want to do it anymore. I want to talk a little bit about our guest, because we're going to bring her in here. We told her
sure?
We told her 2 minutes. It's been 5. Elyrria Swann is the author of a book. It's called How to Become a Mermaid. But we're not only going to be talking about mermaids tonight, because she has a tremendous amount of experience with some other things that we like to talk about on this program, and I won't reveal what they are at this point, but we will talk about them. And she's just
you didn't even tell me.
I know, I'm not going to tell you. And she's all around just knowledgeable about things spiritual. So we're going to have a great time speaking with her, and we're very, very pleased to have her back on the show. Elle, welcome back to the program. It is an honor to have you back. We were trying to figure out when it was that you were here last. You said December. I believe it. And I said it doesn't seem like December was 6 months ago, but it was. It was a long time ago already.
Yeah, that went by so fast, but it's an honor to be back. Good to see you, JV, and nice to meet you, Brett. This is really cool.
What have you been doing? Because I'm not going to. You and I exchanged some messages early on talking about things we were going to chat about, and I know that I spent a little bit of time with COVID. I think you hinted that you may have had to deal with it too. Are you recovered? Are you doing all right now?
I'm okay now. I lost a lot of my lung capacity, so I can't hold my breath as long as I used to. So I've got to work my way back up. It hit me hard. So I used to be able to hold my breath for over 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Just getting back.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just getting back to being able to hold it for over 2 now, though. So it got me. But I'm doing a lot better now. So.
Well, I have trouble on a good day holding my breath for more than like 38 seconds. So I'm impressed
I think we need to do a
test.
I think we need to do a test. Can you put up a timer, JV? We got to see how long we can hold our breath
only
for.
If you hold your breath for 4 minutes. Will you do that, Britt? Will you hold it for 4 minutes?
Well, if I did that, I'll die.
You'll be blue.
And then
Elle, let me ask you this. As far as the holding the breath thing, I want to ask about the COVID effects of it, if you don't mind sharing some of that with us, because I, too, have some lingering effects, and I'm just not sure. I just don't know what's COVID, what's not, what's just me being paranoid. I just don't know. But did you train to learn to hold your breath for as long as you could as part of your mermaid existence?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That was not natural.
Okay.
I'm not, I wouldn't call myself a super athletic person. It takes training for me to get to that point. So yeah, I had swimming lessons too and all sorts of stuff to be able to get to that point.
And I mean, because 4 minutes is a long time. I mean, that's really, really impressive. And do you train, like, you must have to do like practice every day, like actually work at it. It's like any other skill. You've got to work at it, right?
Exactly. There's like breath exercises and things like that. You can do it out of the water. You can also do it in the water, of course, and just kind of take your time and get back into it. I've just started redoing it all. So 4 minutes is a long time, and it feels a lot longer when you're holding your breath for it. So,
Britt, I don't know if I can trust you unless you had a clothespin on your nose. I'm not sure I can trust that you're actually holding your breath. We're going to see how long you can go here as we talk. Elle, I want to ask you, and again, don't share anything you don't feel comfortable sharing, but you said COVID hit you pretty hard. I know I had a very high fever when I had it. It took me about 3 weeks, start to finish, for me to start to feel normal again. And like I said, I still have these like little. What'd you get?
30 seconds is the max I could do. Otherwise, I think I was going to pass out.
You're all red. Yeah, you look like
How the hell do you do 4 minutes? That is insane.
I'm proud of you, Britt. You did a good job. It's okay. You don't need to prove anything. You already have street cred as ghost hunter, so you're good. I think you're right here.
Oh, that's so funny.
Wow.
Anyway, so I still feel like there's some lingering effects. You say your lung capacity was affected. How long do you think it takes to rebound from that? And how long ago did you have the COVID?
It was back in February, I want to say. It lasted for over 2 weeks. I had a killer headache. I couldn't breathe very well. Like I had to sit up pretty much and sleep in a chair. I couldn't lay down, or I was like gasping for air. It was rough. I'm giving it 1 out of 10 stars. So
yeah. How about? And I'm going to ask you this just because it's something I've been experiencing. I've had these like vertigo symptoms ever since I had COVID, and they just come and go. Have you experienced anything like that?
Not that bad. I did for about a week after, but my partner does. He said that he feels kind of dizzy sometimes and he has to like take a minute and deep breathe. It's getting better, but he had long COVID. So he had symptoms for ages and they thought he had an infection. He was on antibiotics. And of course, antibiotics are useless against viruses. So they it dawned on them finally that it was just long COVID. So yeah, he went through it too. All
right, well, thanks for sharing that. That wasn't the intention of our conversation here, but I was just curious. Now, when you
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question about the COVID. When you had it, did you do any of the medical regimens that our government told us not to do? Like the Ivor, like any of that stuff, get the extra vitamins?
No.
Or did you just follow it? You just toughed it out?
I pretty much toughed it out. I mean, I did take extra vitamins, but I don't even know what they were recommending, honestly. I just took extra like B12, B6, some vitamin C stuff, and drank a ton of water because my mucus was really thick. It was gross, honestly. Yeah, but I didn't do nothing too crazy. I just rested it out.
All right. So I
had COVID too, but I took all the medicines and I was in and out in 3 days.
Yeah, you say that, but you were sick a lot longer than 3 days. I remember. You keep saying it. Every time we talk about it.
Couch time.
Every time we talk about it, it's shorter somehow. Somehow it got shorter. It's going to be in 8 hours by the time next week comes around. Elle, I want to we asked a lot of these questions, had a lot of this conversation when you were on in December, and because the show has been rebranded, we've got a lot of new folks participating as viewers or podcast listeners. So forgive me if I repeat some of the questions that we already talked about, but I think it's a good idea to set the foundation here. So as the title of the show indicates, and as the title of your book indicates, we're going to be talking about how to become a mermaid. Now, you are a mermaid, but explain what that means, because people will be looking at you and saying, she's not in the water. I don't see a tail. I don't see any fins. So obviously it's far more significant than that, but explain what that means.
Of course. Yeah. So for those of us who study elementals are beings that are vibrationally similar to whatever element they are, in charge of. So a water elemental would be a mermaid. A mermaid that's incarnated would just be someone who has an aura made of water, that they've spent many lifetimes in the mermaid realm, or they've spent a significant amount of time on Earth, perhaps developing the water element, which humans can do. You can also do that for earth, fire, air, things like that. It can become a part of you. And when it becomes a part of you and it's like it's in your energy field, mermaids and other elementals recognize you as one of their own, because that's all that a mermaid is. It's someone who's cultivated what it is inside of themselves.
Right. And I remember as part of your story, you a lot of this was occurring to you as you were a child. As you were growing up, you were recognizing this affinity, right? This was something that was kind of intrinsic to you. It wasn't something you just decided. You felt it naturally.
Yes, for sure. All the training and the meditating, I didn't know any of that. So that came way later because I was raised by a fundamentalist, really conservative family, Christian, Baptist, if you want a denomination.
Woo!
And this was, yeah, I got the trifecta there. So,
Ooh, baby.
but yeah, but mermaids started coming to me like in the astral while I was in the bathtub or just when I was in water. And, you're a little kid, so you have imaginary friends and, you see things maybe if you're spiritually inclined. So I didn't always fully understand what was going on, but I knew that these beings were real and that they would have great meaning for me later on in my life. So that's how it started, but then I did have to develop it over time.
Elle, how did these beings come to you as a child particularly? I mean, were they frightening to you? Did you recognize them as friendly right away?
I did. And honestly, it's kind of sad, but like my brother and I were so isolated. So it was almost like a family cult in a way. So we had like church friends and things like that. But I was homeschooled for a couple of years, like 4th and 5th grade. I didn't even go anywhere other than violin practice and church and, religious events and that. So we were really lonely kids. So when these nice beings show up while I'm, in the water somewhere, it was really euphoric. It was a good experience. And it was really nice to connect with something, that isn't human because they can talk to you at any time. You don't have to, schedule a meetup and figure all those things out.
We often talk about, some I don't know what I'll call them. I don't want to say religious beliefs, but ancient beliefs that break the spiritual world down, or much of the spiritual world and the world around us down into elements: fire, water, earth, air. Maybe I might be not picking them correctly. But as you talk about the water elementals and mermaids and how this all works together, is that what we're talking about? Similar? Is it connected to those ancient beliefs?
I would think so. I mean, so many mythologies intersect, and every country even has their own ideas of what an elemental being is. Even fairies can differ from region to region, but I'm sure that there's some parallels. I'm not sure which ancient belief perhaps you're referencing, but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
You also not just found this to be something that you were drawn to naturally, but you actually, as you said, developed it over time. I know that you spent a lot of time in the water. At least you did, prior to COVID, and I know you're recovering from all that. But you spent a lot of time in the water. How do you feel different when you're in the water?
I don't even know what the best human word for it would be, but I feel transcendent. Like I no longer feel human in a way. It's like everything is okay. All missions have been accomplished. Like there's nowhere to be but here. And that vibration, many channels have talked about it. That's what we call golden age energy. It's like when you are so in the moment and you're just so in love with what's happening right then that there's nowhere else you would rather be, and you don't feel like you need to do anything else right then at the moment. You're living in the golden age. And that's truly what it feels like for me. And
what about other elements? Fire, air, earth. Are there beings associated with those elements as well? If someone, I don't know, maybe has an affinity for, and this may sound dangerous on the surface, but for fire, does that mean they have another? Yes. Oh, you have an affinity for fire, Brett? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I like fire. I'm a pyro.
No, I mean, does it work similarly with other types of elements as well?
It does. There are people who do have, fire auras, or at least some element like lava or something, in their energy field. So they would connect most deeply with salamanders. That's the word for fire spirit. Sylphs are the names for the air spirits. And then gnomes are the word for earth spirits. And I have to be really careful with earth because it's so dense. It makes me really nauseated when I meditate on them. So that's an element, for example, that I'm not so good with.
Can you see people's auras? Can you see them before you've had a conversation with them? Can you tell if someone has a fire aura versus a water aura?
Sometimes it kind of depends on what they're doing and honestly what the background behind them looks like. Usually what I do is I meditate on them and I feel it more. So it's more like claircognizance, but sometimes I am clairvoyant, and if it's like a really clear image, I can pick it out.
And
so
I'm going to let Britt.
It's more about the feeling.
Okay, I'm going to let Britt take in just after this question here, and I also want to get into the story because I remember you telling a story about I think it was a pet fish that you had that turned out to be something far more important than that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But again, when we get back to these auras and people identifying with them and then connecting with beings, you've talked about a lot of different beings that you've actually been able to connect with in other dimensions and other spiritual planes. And some of them sound a little scary. I mean, a Gorgon Medusa sounds really, really scary to me. But what are these beings actually that you're connecting with?
Well, for the Gorgon Medusas, they would be part of the mermaid realm. They're kind of like the guardians. And the mermaid realm is pretty safe overall. So it's like you don't really need these, this armed guard formation there. But they generally, for people who are incarnated as mermaids, they kind of, how do I say this? Incarnates, for the most part, tend to have a problem with existing in the human world because they're so used to going with the flow and in their golden age feeling field that they lack motivation a lot of the time to carve out a life here and to even stand up for themselves and advocate for themselves when they need to. So I think that Gorgon Medusas kind of exist to help them push that energy forward as a bridge and to become more human in a way. They're very, very bold, and they are scary, honestly. If you come up against one in the astral, they can be downright terrifying. But their whole purpose is to assist mermaids, but also, for example, I had to go to court once. It was just for a civil issue. I just had to answer some questions. And I had one of my friends invite the Gorgons into my field. They don't stay for very long in my energy field because it's not dense enough to hold them. But she did it for a couple of hours. And the judge, he couldn't put two words together. He was shaking in his chair and all messed up. And later on, I asked someone, I was like, is he normally like that? And she was like, no, I don't know what was wrong with him, but he was really off balance there. And I thought, you know what, maybe that was a little bit overboard that I asked for them to be there, but at least it kind of gave me insight into what they can do. They can be pretty intense. And even if other people can't see it, they can feel it.
Okay, so before I let Britt take it, I want to follow up to that. So you can actually use these other beings in a way to support you to your advantage, as you just described a situation. If you bring them into your aura at the right time, it can actually help improve whatever situation you're in. Is that what you're saying?
Precisely. And that does take some time and some discipline because you have to be able to safely invite certain beings in because not all of them, may be compatible with your nervous system or your energy. And you also need to be able to, sever the connection, politely, of course, when you're done. It's like in witchcraft, how they will open a circle and they'll close the circle so that, the magic is done. It's kind of like that, except you're just doing it on your own in a communication, in a more communicative way than, doing earth magic. So that's kind of what it's like.
Go ahead, Britt.
Okay, Elle, are you ready for a walk in the third grade class? Because I need you to answer these questions like I'm a third grader.
Come at me.
Because I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this. So I'm super curious at how it works. But please forgive my elementary level questioning. But that's just where I work. Okay, so you are a mermaid incarnate. So it means you didn't come from the ocean with a fin and all that stuff, and then became human, and you will go back to the ocean when you die. Kind of like X on the Beach show, if anybody watches that. So you're a reincarnate. So how does that work? So you were born from a human from a mother, basically that's human, and then they kind of trained you to be this, or do you already have it in you and they just bring it out?
I already had it in me, but it's not like it was just innate from the beginning of the universe. There was a point where I had to learn water and take my time with it. I just think it was more in a past life type of instance. So I don't know if you're familiar with past and parallel lives, but that's kind of the configuration I have going on here. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so this is kind of past life stuff bleeding in, plus just the way your DNA came together, and then the elements that you were born under, and then this is what you became, which is really kind of cool. Okay, so I don't know a lot about how all the astrological stuff works. But so I know there are some people, and I saw this in chat roll by, so I'm kind of piggybacking off of Rain in chat. There are people that are kind of double signs, like fire water. She said she was fire water. She cancels herself out. How does that work if you're water and fire, or you kind of blend going on? Because water does cancel out fire, and if you do, will the elementals kind of fight over you from each side if they really want you? How does that work if you kind of split in the lanes?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Just keep in mind, I'm not an astrology expert. This is just kind of how I see it going in.
Well, I'm a third grader, so
it's okay. We're all third graders here. This is planet Earth. So we're all figuring it out. But it depends on the person. I think there's so many different astrological influences to someone's birth chart, also known as their natal chart, that it can be hard to, just look at the chart and be like, oh, this is your strongest influence. You have to look at the person. Something that I've seen is like, for example, if someone has a strong sun sign, like their primary sign is fire, say, and their rising sign is water. This isn't always the case, but a lot of the time I see their sun sign as something they need to grow into, whereas their rising sign is more of who they naturally are inside. There are exceptions to that, though, but that's kind of how I see it. The elementals never fight, though. They're not even in the same realms to fight. So they all just have their own mission, and they're going to go for it. So, I mean, if I invite a mermaid in and then I have a salamander sitting on my other side, which I have done before, I mean, they can co-create and interact, but normally they're just going to go through the channel, which would be like me or, whoever's bringing them through.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
I hope that makes sense.
No, it totally does. Totally does. So zodiac signs, they mix and match. Some play better together, others don't. So Victoria Lee in chat, in Foxhole chat, just said she's fire air. So is it will like fire and air work well together in this world? In this, does that help? Like the rising sign is fire, the dominant sign is air. Will they help each other to become a stronger either air or fire? Does it work like that?
They certainly could. I mean, if she's going about it from a meditative elemental standpoint and she wants to develop those, I think she has a great alignment there to get that going. So, I mean, it can work that way, but it also just depends as well. There's so many factors that go into this. There's other parts of the natal chart and past lives, but yeah, those can work really, really well together.
Okay, cool. Okay, so do you know other people that are like you, like from around the world? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you're. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've met like a whole community of mermaids and other people with, auras of different elements in nature. Most of it's online, but I have met a few of them in person. One of them, my friend, his name is William Mistely. He wrote the foreword for my book. This was like a couple decades ago, but he put out kind of like a casting call for mermaids. And he was just like, I'm looking for these types of people. And then when certain people would message him, he would read their auras. And some of them ended up having, the type of auras he was looking for. And he kind of formed a community for us. So that's pretty neat.
Cool. Okay. So what part, I don't want to ask like your address, but what part of the country are you from?
Originally, I'm from Virginia, but now I live in Sedona. So that's in Arizona.
Sedona, Arizona. Okay, Sedona. I'm in LA. Have you noticed that like you're actually a pretty talkative, very cool, very, comfortable with who you are person. That's what I'm picking up off of you. Like if I were to talk to a mermaid who is Italian, and they're very aggressive in your face, lots of hands going, shit flying everywhere.
Hey, watch what you're saying. Watch what you're saying about Italians.
JV's Italian, by the way. Although you wouldn't know with the last name Johnson. But I guess my question is how humans are different. Do you find in the mermaid community that they're different depending on where they're from?
It can be. It does depend on your culture to some extent. Like there are certain closed practices, of course, like someone who has African heritage, I wouldn't feel comfortable necessarily contacting everyone that they're close to because that's not for me. And it wouldn't be right for, say, a white person to colonize and, invade that space. So I always ask before I, connect with any energy or an entity and things like that. So anyways, I kind of rabbit trailed there. But with that being said, yes, there are slight differences. And of course, just incarnating in a human body, I mean, none of us exist in a vacuum. So we all, integrate different influences and backgrounds and all that great stuff. So I think there's there's some interaction there. There's something conversational that happens between one's spirituality and their cultural background, to some extent at least.
Okay, and JV, you can have this after this question. Okay, so you're in Sedona, Arizona, which is not next to the ocean, and as a mermaid, they like the ocean. Or can you do well in freshwater? Like there's Lake Mead, there's big bodies of water around you. Is it okay is that a suitable substitute for the ocean if you're around a big enough body of water? Or can it just be the bathtub? I mean, I'm just curious how the level of water that you need to be around to feel comfortable.
Right. Yeah, that's such a good question. And I get asked all the time, you're a mermaid. Why are you in the desert? And first off, I'm actually in the high Sonoran Desert. So we do have trees and we actually have a lot of water. So we get millions of tourists sweeping through Sedona each year because they want to see, stuff like Slide Rock. It's like a natural water slide and all these lakes and rivers and waterfalls. So as long as there's water, mermaids can exist there. And I do make regular trips to LA. I love the ocean and, I need my beach time. But it's so great here. And Sedona is such a spiritual place with such high energy. It's supposed to be, a vortex, a place where energy is naturally occurring. It's so, enlivening and amazing. I feel like it sustains me. It's almost like if there were a starseed hub on Earth, I think this would be one of the capitals. So to me, it feels like home. I lived in Colorado right before I moved to Sedona. It was kind of my transition place between this and Virginia where I grew up. And when I left Colorado, I was like hugging the trees goodbye and like, what did I get myself into here? But then I got out here and it was fantastic. So, it's not what you think of when you think of a desert. If you want like the saguaro cacti and things like that, you have to go further south to Phoenix. So.
Right.
El, your book is called How to Become a Mermaid, Embodying the Elemental Energy of Water. It's been out for a while now, right? I mean, it's been kicking around for a while, hopefully doing well for you. But as people have found the book, read the book, have you had a lot of people reaching out to you saying, wow, now it makes sense to me. I didn't understand why I had these feelings or these tendencies, but now it all starts to make sense.
Yes, I've had so many. And honestly, I just opened a question section on my website, my mermaid website, and I'm so behind. I only have like 2 answers posted. But even before I wrote this book, William, my friend, would send me people like that, because he's like, I can kind of guide you, but Elle's the one who's actually, immersed in all of this. So I already had kind of a steady flow of people. And then I had a really popular Tumblr for a while. So I had some people follow me over from that. So my inbox is flooded. And honestly, how I'm going to get through all of it, but I'll probably just pick out the highlights and do my best to answer those questions.
What type of person or what type of things is a person going through in their lives that maybe they don't recognize that reaching out to you or the answers that you have and have offered people actually might help them? Are there certain symptoms, like if somebody feels uncomfortable with, their daily routine, these are the types of red flags that come up that you would recommend somebody, hey, look into something like this. You may find a home here.
For sure. I think that there's great benefit to anyone having their energy field read. So even if you come to me and you're not necessarily someone with an elemental energy, that's okay. You're probably, a starseed. I think we all have past lives on other planets and in other places that automatically makes us all, what I determined to be a starseed. So I think it's really fruitful to connect with those things. So, I mean, I think there's benefit no matter what you do or no matter what the answer is. But as far as what's going on in someone's life, specifically for mermaids, it's usually someone, and this crosses over to many other things, but it's someone who feels very alien on planet Earth, which I don't think is hard to do, especially me. I'm autistic, so I naturally don't fit into all the neurotypical ways of, mainstream capitalism and things like that. I think many spiritual people would also say that. But mermaids in particular need water in some way in a big way in their lives to feel like they're okay. It's like their ultimate therapist. And to be fair, humans, I think many humans feel that way too. We're all born of water in the womb, so it's a natural, space of safety, at least for most of us. I mean, I think I told you in the last one that I almost drowned in the wave tank at Water Country USA when I was a kid. But,
oh my God.
I know it's embarrassing. But I just think that mermaids have this extra connection with water where they'll spend ridiculous amounts of time in it to feel safe and to feel well. So, but really what I have to do is I have to read like the inner aura to see, where someone's coming from and to really get a handle on who they are.
Okay, so someone has decided, and maybe they've even talked with you or read some of your stuff and decided, okay, you know what, this really makes sense to me. I think this will help my life. It'll help me feel like I belong, where I don't feel that way right now. What's the, without giving away everything that's in your book, because it's obviously far more complicated than we have time for on the show, but what are the first steps someone needs to go through to start down this path?
Yeah, so this can go for anyone, whether they naturally have a proclivity for the water element or not. But I would just start with simple water meditations. I have a couple of really, really easy ones to do in my book. You can start with that. You can spend more time in water. You can imagine water flowing through your body. That's very helpful. Something that I like to recommend to people, it's not right for everyone, but I like to recommend the Franz Bardone System to Magic because he has several books. He was a Czech magician who lived in the early 1900s. I think he died in 1958. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was in the 50s. And he developed this entire magic system where you can prepare your mind, your body, your spirit to be able to interact with beings all throughout the universe. But he does specifically talk about mermaids and other elementals. So if you're feeling completely lost and you're like, I need structure here, I would strongly recommend his system because he'll teach you how to be safe. He'll teach you how to focus your thoughts like to a fine point down to a singularity. And it's incredibly fruitful for everyone that I've seen, at least.
Is it possible that someone who actually doesn't feel comfortable in the water, I know there are a lot of people that don't like to swim or whatever, but still have this somehow affinity for it in another way, maybe in a spiritual sense, are those conflicting ideas, or is that just, that's just the way some of it evolves?
I don't think they're conflicting because, even I feel kind of strange incarnating in, a carbon-based life form again. So I don't think it's unusual to feel a little odd, with physical things, especially if you've spent many lifetimes in more of a quasi-physical sense where you're not quite as dense or, you're more silicone-based or something. So I think there's many people with gifts. If you think of humans, we exist on many levels. So we have our spiritual selves, our etheric and astral selves, and things like that. And I would say that it's the same for water. So you could totally connect more with the spiritual side of water, maybe on a mental or emotional plane. Of course, that's completely valid.
We're going to change the topic here in just a minute, but I want you to tell the story again of your relationship, for lack of a better way to describe it, with the fish that I think you got as a pet, and it turned out to be far more than that. Am I remembering the story correctly?
Yeah, I actually have several, so I can kind of just pick from all of them, I guess. I can start with the one in college. When I was in college, I went to a university I didn't really want to go to. It's just where my parents wanted me to go, and I was only at that one for one semester. And during my time there, I went to a pet store and I ended up walking out with a betta fish. And it sounds so crazy to say it out loud, but this fish basically had an aura that was similar to that of a merman or a mermaid. And I started dreaming almost hallucinating with these beings. And it was communicated to me that in a way, mermaids, mermen, merfolk, whomever, they can connect to fish and other aquatic life. They don't fully incarnate into it, but they can kind of connect to its nervous system in a way. And in that sense, they can support us in the physical while we're here on Earth. So, occasionally I'll see a fish and it has that extra, that feeling of astral immortality or just something that's so much more than an ordinary fish. That kind of clues you into, what they are. And they're really cool. They can communicate psychically with you. They can be almost protective in a way. I know one mermaid, I won't say her name because I think she wants to remain private, but she had a fish who she had a really abusive boyfriend at the time, although she wasn't fully aware of it from the start. And he would lose his mind whenever this guy would come anywhere near the bowl. And after a while, she'd kind of figure out, if this fish doesn't like someone, they're probably a bad person. If this fish likes someone, they're probably good for me. And she actually used that as a meter for her relationships, moving on from that. So there's so many different things you can do with these beings when they incarnate. But
you were
really
surprised, weren't you surprised? At least the first time that you had this connection, it surprised you, right?
Yeah, it was really shocking because I didn't know that they could do that. It's like I felt like you had to only incarnate in a human body, and you had to go through all these, you had to go through the human experience in order to kind of dip your toe in the water. But that's not the truth. You can connect in various ways through other conduits, but there has to be an agreement, with the animal's soul and between the mermaid realm and things like that. And one of the questions I get a lot is, well, is it unethical for, a mer person to connect with a fish? Does it hurt them? The answer is no. All fish and animals deserve to be taken care of and loved. But I think that when the mermaid realm connects with an animal, it almost makes their life better in a way, and it can lengthen their lifespan just a little bit. All of my fish with merfolk lived longer. So
one of the things that you talk about too is an astral mermaid. What's the difference between the mermaid that we're talking about, or mermaids that we've been talking about, and an astral mermaid? Is it just a version of it, or is it a more spiritual version of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the astral realm is basically a realm that exists parallel to ours. A lot of people think of it as the dream world. It has many levels to it, so that's not all that it is, but it's like a higher vibrational dimension. And that is where an astral mermaid would reside. It's basically a mermaid who is not incarnated into physical or human form. So that would be in the mermaid realm. There's also, fire realms and different pockets and, sections and precincts, depending on what the vibrational, attunement is. So there are some mermaids who incarnate in human bodies, but we're more rare. However, one of the main mermaid queens that you'll hear a lot about, and especially in Franz Bardone's system, he was really enamored with this mermaid named Isaful, and she was the first one to contact me. She actually started out as a human woman, and she reached out to the universe in a way, and she was just like, look, I want to be peace. I want to reveal the mysteries of stillness and healing that humanity knows nothing about, and I want to be that ambassador. So when she passed away, she became a mermaid. She was like given the soul of a mermaid, and so she will remain until her task is complete.
Is a mermaid?
Her story is really cool.
Is a mermaid soul different than another soul, or are all of our souls the same, and then we just choose different paths with them?
I like your second definition more. I do think that there are some small differences. Like, for example, there's some mermaid souls who, from what I can discern right now, never incarnate as a human. So I think that there would be, when you think about how many times some of us have incarnated in human bodies, that does take a toll, and it means something. It gives us, relatability to other beings like us. So I think that there might be some vibrational differences. I mean, if a mermaid really wanted to do something else, I guess they could, but their whole mission is to do what they do. So I don't think any of them would, for the most part, would even imagine doing something different than what they started out doing. It doesn't really seem like their vibration to, explore outside of that. That's more of a starseed thing.
Britt, I am going to change topics here with Elle. So if you have any other mermaid questions at the moment, now would be a good time to jump in. I don't know if you've got others that you want to ask.
I don't necessarily have mermaid questions, but I do have a quick kind of general question. Being tuned in like you are with the elementals, being a mermaid, I mean, you are really dialed in. Does that help you in the other realms of paranormal, just as the word used, that goes on around you, whether it's ghosts or aliens or Bigfoot, or does it help you in that world also kind of zero in, tune in, see, experience?
Absolutely. I mean, all the skills are the same. It's basically, refined empathy, being able to listen. Sometimes I just channel things, and it's like, you can draw a picture, or you can paint, or you can write a poem, and they come through in that way. So yeah, absolutely. It's all the same skills. I do think that with elemental things like water, fire, air, things like that, you have to spend time with the element because it's a vibrational alignment, and that can, that takes some practice, but fundamentally it's all the same thing. So yeah, that's a good question.
So I that's where I was going.
Right, JV,
I was going.
I
was going in that gear. Britt changed the gears for me, so we'll just continue with
Sorry.
it. You have had UFO, UAP experiences. Are they connected to the elementals, or is it something? Is that a different phenomena in its entirety? And tell us about your experiences too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for me, it does feel more separate. It's like they're aware of each other, but elementals are more on their own. And, ETs support Earthlings, of course, too. But, ETs have their own civilizations and things like that. So to me, I just kind of separate the two out in my mind. But yeah, I've had tons of UAP experiences. Almost all of them were in Sedona. So my favorite one, which is really cool, it was when I first moved here. I moved 2015, and this was in 2016. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but we have red rocks out here, and they're called vortexes or vortices. And Bell Rock is like the main hub in the village of Oak Creek. That's one side of Sedona. And then just a little further down the, our highway, this is the Wild West, so it doesn't look like the type of highway you're probably thinking about. We have Cathedral Rock. And in between those two, there have been so many, UAP, UFO sightings. It's pretty crazy. But me and my partner were basically driving there one night, and I'm, having a good time. We're listening to music. I'm kind of hanging out the window, and I see some lights off in the distance. And to me, it didn't look like a helicopter or a plane or anything, but it was so far away. It was like, it looked like it was a few miles away. Perhaps maybe a couple miles. It was hard to see. So I was just joking around, and I leaned out my window and I was like, oh, hey, star family, because I was hoping to see something. I'm always out there messing around. I could count like 1, 2, 3. It was all the way from the other side of Sedona on top of us. There was no noise. I couldn't detect any sort of propulsion system. And it was shaped kind of like a triangle. My partner drew a picture of it, and it's in the UFO experience on my website if you want to check it out. It had some lights on it. He says he remembers red and green. I remember the green ones. I don't remember the red ones. But it basically flew right over us. No noise, no nothing. And it was so low. If I'd thrown maybe like a softball or something straight up ahead, I could have hit it. Like, it was so close to us. And I felt it. Like with some UFOs, you're just like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's a weather balloon and I saw it wrong, or, I don't know, it kind of felt human. This did not feel human. So it came down over Bell Rock, and it kind of curved over us and curved over Cathedral Rock toward what we call Airport Mesa. We actually do have an airport up there. And then I get home and I record the experience, and we're both looking at each other like, what just happened? What did we experience? I looked it up, and I went onto the, MUFON, Mutual UFO Network. Apparently, the year before, this was in June, like within 2 days of that date that we had seen something, a group of people had seen the exact same type of aircraft on the same date within the same 2 hours at night the previous year.
Wow.
And it kind of like, it floored me. I was just like, wow, okay, so that feels pretty synchronous. So that one's probably my favorite because it's the close. Go ahead.
I need you to clarify something. You were hanging out the window? Like, are we talking like waist out, sitting on, hands up, hippie style as you're going down the road? No, Thelma and Louise? Or just your head like a dog,
Yeah, kind of like that. I was like, my upper body's kind of leaning out the window. I'm like a golden retriever in the car, okay? I shed like a golden retriever too, so good luck cleaning. Yeah, so, I'm hanging out there. The thing about our highway is that we were there at nighttime, and at night it's all pretty much elderly people here. So there's not really nightlife here unless you, I don't know, go stargazing on the rocks or something. This is primarily a town for older people. So it's not a busy road at night. Exactly. Yep. And we were going really, really slow. We were only going like 30 miles an hour. So I was just kind of, hanging out and enjoying the air and having a good time. I love night drives because I'm just basically a dog in the car. So, but
how come you don't have a convertible?
That's a good question. I should probably get one at some point, but we just have a basic Honda right now. Yeah, I don't know.
Elle,
maybe if I find one of those electric cars.
Yeah, Elle, you do you think your and Britt kind of asked this question, but I'm going to ask it a little differently. Do you think your aura or your connection to the astral realm and these other beings would make you more susceptible to having these encounters with UAP or UFO? Do you think they're connected to this? The ETs, do you think they can sense it? Are they also aware of all of this?
I think so. And the way that I see it, I don't know if everyone will agree. I think that we have certain agreements that maybe we don't remember, when we incarnate, like, we're going to have certain encounters, perhaps. We're going to be one of the people who's going to help awaken others to the idea that there is other life in the universe. So I think that's part of it too. But I mean, I don't want to assert myself or put myself above anyone else, because I think anyone can become, once again, what a mermaid or a starseed is. But I do think that I had those soul contracts in there where I'm going to see, maybe a few things that come first.
We've had a lot of discussion in, I guess, pop culture, but also specifically in the federal government about these phenomena recently. They've been releasing videos and photographs and basically offering an explanation that is no explanation is kind of where they've gone with their explanations. However, they seem to be more forthcoming with this. Do you see the federal government's attitude changing? And what do you think, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see any of their videos, but what do you think they are experiencing, the military or whatever it happens to be?
Yeah, I think that they would actually be the people who would be seeing more of these things because, like the Air Force, they're going to be up in the air all the time. My brother is actually in the Air Force, as is his wife. They're not pilots, they're journalists, but one of them is actually about to tour, I think, with the Thunderbirds. She's going to be based out of Vegas. So that's going to be pretty cool. But wow. I think that they're in a position to be able to see those kinds of things more. So it makes sense that they would. And I don't know if you saw it. It was a couple weeks ago when they had like the little UFO Congress and they talked about, the UAPs that have been going on and stuff. And it was just kind of funny because people were asking like, well, did you try to communicate with these things that you're investigating? And the guy who's answering the questions, he just kind of pauses and he like looks, and there's this big hesitation there. And then he kind of says no. And it sounds a whole lot like he wanted to say yes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know exactly what their, techniques are, what's going on there, but I definitely see them becoming more open about it. It used to be like, oh, they're trying to cover everything up, but it seems more now like they're looking at things and they're like, hey, this isn't us. That's definitely not us, and we want the public to know about it. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah,
but some of it, and you just pointed it out, some of it seems to be like, hey, look over here. Don't look behind the curtain. Look over here. We'll dangle these little bits of information over here to keep you appeased while we keep the big curtain closed where all the real stuff is. I kind of get that feeling, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. It's especially with the way he was answering some of the questions. It was very evasive and he would kind of hesitate, and it's clearly not just basic stage fright. Like, he knows some things, and it may not even be like he doesn't want to share it. He probably can't, depending on, his superiors and all the different political nuances above him. But yeah, for sure. I think that they know a lot more than they're letting on. I think that they do know oftentimes which craft are manned, and which ones are not, and stuff like that. I mean, it's no secret, but I think with all the phenomena that's been occurring, they have to acknowledge something. So I think it's good that we're getting to this point, though, because I think the more that we broadcast that we feel comfortable with ET contact, the more we're broadcasting consent, and I think that is important to ETs, to some extent. Like, okay, I think we're ready for this. Vibrationally, we can at least entertain the idea that we are not, the only beings in the universe. So I think it's good that at least they're talking about it, even if they're still hiding things. They're always hiding something, right?
Always. It doesn't matter what the topic is. In fact, they feel like they have to hide it regardless of what it is. It's just insane.
The power thing.
Yeah, it is a power thing. Let's talk a little bit about, there have been efforts, and I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but I'm anxious to hear it if you do. There have been efforts to actually send signals, and they're actually doing it, sending signals into space, welcoming messages, whatever they happen to be, saying, hey, we're here. There are some that say, hey, we shouldn't be doing that. We should remain quiet. We should remain our own little thing here, because if there is an alien technology that can actually make that, many hundreds of light years journey to us, then they probably have the technology that would be necessary to defeat us, enslave us, whatever it happens to be. Do you worry about anything like that?
It's definitely crossed my mind. I mean, I know there are so many loving beings and species in the universe. I've connected with them, but of course there's always those low density types that,
just takes one
infiltrate.
Just takes one bad one.
Yeah. That's a good point. The reason why I'm not ridiculously worried about it is because it's commonly talked about in starseed realms how Earth has actually been in a type of quarantine for a long time. It's why we haven't received, that much ET contact. Basically, way back in our ancient history, it was thought that, negative races were trying to take over or at least incarnate, in something similar to human bodies. There's people who are way more adept with those histories than I am. But long story short, more evolved races, say like the Pleiadians and higher beings, put up kind of this energetic shield around Earth, like an incubator, I guess, to kind of protect us so that we could evolve and develop, our tech and learn who we are and get to where we need to be spiritually before, those walls come down and we're integrated into, all of these different galactic or intergalactic alliances. So I think that when the walls come down, perhaps these higher beings will they'll kind of midwife us, I think, into the next stage of our existence. And from what I have seen, I know that others may have a different opinion, but because of this quarantine, because of this energetic shield, I've really only seen high vibrational ETs making, physical or quasi-physical contact with us. So I'm not too worried about it because of those safeguards we seem to have in place.
Is this quarantine, is it a two-way quarantine? In other words, it's keeping things out from getting to us, but is it this at the same time keeping us from venturing too far out? I mean, we haven't necessarily tried to get to Mars yet in a human craft anyway, or beyond that. But does this quarantine work in both directions? Are they trying to keep us in place too?
I think so, in a way. Like, I think they're open to us exploring biological life. So I'm really excited. I want someone to get some equipment out to one of Saturn's moons. It's called Enceladus.
Mm-hmm.
Some people pronounce it Enceladus. We can fight over that. But it's basically, it's a water planet, and it has what's called tidal heating. So you've got like this ice sheet on the top, and you've got warm water, beneath that most likely. And it would be a really obvious place perhaps for life to evolve, since life on Earth evolved in the water. So I don't think that they would be opposed to that. We just don't seem to have the tech yet, or if we do, perhaps it's being hidden from us. I've had that thought as well. And something else like you have to think about is these people at the top 1%, the kings of capitalism or oligarchies or whatever, they don't want us making contact with these higher beings, because then they're not the top dogs anymore, and that's scary to them.
Yep.
So that's
well, I mean,
to me, that's the scariest force here.
Well, that brings up Elon Musk, too, because he is obviously he has SpaceX, and he has talked very openly about getting to Mars. Do you think he's doing that to preempt someone else from doing it, or do you think he's doing that to protect himself? I mean, what's his motivation there? If it's not for mankind, to use a phrase, is it just for him? Is he doing it selfishly?
I think he's a very selfish person. I mean, he has all that money. He could solve world hunger if he wants.
He offered to, I think didn't he? Didn't he offer to?
Yeah, no, he offered to.
But then he didn't do it.
Did they take him up on it? I don't remember.
No.
I just know.
No. That's not true at all. He said, if you can show me a system that works and it doesn't get corrupted by government entities stealing all the money, he would gladly do it.
He would donate, what, $6 billion or something? It was like $6 billion or something?
But no one would... Yeah, no government agency, no country would allow him to come in with non-government. They want their cut. So he said no.
Yeah.
I look at Elon Musk and the oligarchs that you're talking about, the CEOs, the capitalists, the Black Rocks, the State Streets, they're going after him like a mofo because he stepped out of line. He's not marching. He's marching alone. Yeah. Is he a selfish person? Yeah, but he's also on the spectrum, so he thinks different than us, which to all of us who think normal, I shouldn't say normal, that's the wrong way to say that don't think at his level, it's scary to us, and we look at it as ego and arrogance, and he's just a smart MF-er, but when he stepped a little bit out of line and they turned on him on a dime, that made me think, what's he doing over? There's something going on there, because the oligarchs that we hate, the ones that are corrupt and want all the power and all of us to stay in the ditch, don't like Elon Musk because he's not falling in line. So I think we need to hold judgment on Elon right now and see how this all ferrets out, because our media en masse is lying to us about him. Because if you think about it, last year we all loved him because he was solving the petroleum car problems. And everybody loved him. but he steps a little out of line from the oligarchs, and he becomes enemy number one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear you. I can appreciate that perspective. I get it. I don't know. I don't think anyone is fully good or fully bad. So, I mean, of course he's going to have selfish traits. But yeah, 100%. But you're right. You're right. He has, he's smart. He has the capability of doing certain things. So, I mean, I don't fully know. I don't think any of us know all the political nuances going on there, but I think he could do better than what he's doing. If I'm being real, I'm sure that there's some subversive way that he could figure something out. He's so smart. Like, you can't tell me that there's not something more he could be doing. But I do hear what you're saying. He has to watch his step. He has to be careful. He's got all these problems that we don't even have to think about. But I think that in reference to JV's, I think in reference to JV's question, I mean, I think he absolutely has that natural curiosity. So he's going to want to go and discover certain things. But at the same time, on the other side, no offense to you Elon Musk fans, but I do think that I think that he does want to be, the crown prince of the discovery. But I mean, I'm not going to crucify
and don't get me wrong.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not an Elon Musk lover. I've just been around the block enough with all these world governments and oligarchs and been so immersed in that world that whenever they in a group focus on one person like him because he stepped out of line a little bit, it makes me go, all right, what's up here? There's something there. He's not, like you said, he's not evil. We're all a little bad. We're all a little good. What is he who knows? He just has a lot of money to do it. And the only other observation I have is, what if we're the leper colony and we just don't know it?
Yeah, like we're the outside group and we have no idea. Yeah, I understand that.
Because that's why they're staying away. Because we're the leper colony.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, that's all I got.
From what I've meditated on with all of these higher beings, I mean, I haven't gone into, all the specific humans, so I haven't even, asked them about Elon Musk or anything like that. But they actually think very highly of humans because we actually contain a lot of different DNA influences. Many ETs gave some of that to us to kind of get our species started and evolved. We can go back through evolution and see how they kind of branched off, but they contributed. And based on what I've understood while meditating, they did help with some of the key environmental factors that helped life evolve on Earth. So from my perspective, many of these ETs are kind of on the edge of their seat watching humans evolve, and they're very excited to see where we get. So to us, I mean, we're kind of in our baby phase. We're still kind of in the incubator, but all species go through that. So, I mean, it's not something to be ashamed of. We're dealing with a very difficult incarnation experience. Like this isn't like other ET groups where they're all more uniform and they have a similar background. We are all so, we have similarities, but we're all different from each other. So we have so many different types of beings incarnating in these fleshly physical forms that we have to learn how to communicate and how to get along. And that's not an arc that all other civilizations take. So I think it's something that we should be proud of ourselves for.
So what I'm hearing from you, if I take everything you just said and kind of process it all down and encapsulate it, it goes all the way back to Gene Roddenberry and Star Trek and the Vulcans. They didn't reach out and touch and communicate with us directly until we hit the certain propulsion level to be able to jump galaxies. So is that what it is? Basically, the ETs are waiting for us, technology-wise, to grow it ourselves, make it ourselves, and be able to jump around the universe and like, okay, we better reach out and kind of guide them through this because now they can get to us.
That's a good way to think
Gene
of it.
Roddenberry from the future.
Yeah, don't violate the Prime Directive. So I feel that.
Yes.
But I think they tend to look at us more from a spiritual, emotional sense. But yes, our tech does, that's one of the gauges that they would use. I wouldn't say that there's just one. They're looking at many, many different things to be able to contact us. They also don't want to, make us regress by setting us back in our, natural evolution. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it. And I mean, I'm sitting here as if I know everything, and I definitely don't. This is
more than me.
This is just basic stuff. So yeah.
Well, you're doing a great job of explaining it, even if you're not going to admit to knowing it all, but you put it in such a easily understandable package that it makes it very comprehensible. I do want to ask you a little bit about the the meditation and the dream-like communication that you talk about. When you reach out and when you have interactions with these other beings, we've thrown a few of the names around during the course of the discussion. It's often through meditation, right? It's through that process, maybe dream-like connections. Talk a little bit about how that works. And is it like an out-of-body experience for you?
It depends on how I'm doing it. So if I'm meditating, it's actually not. It's a very in-body experience. So I feel fully grounded and centered here. And it feels different, of course, than channeling a mermaid. But honestly, that's not even my favorite way to contact ETs because it's not immersive enough for me, even if I feel grounded. So the way that I started contacting them and the way that they kind of started contacting me was through lucid dreaming. And I use the wake back to bed method. So what that means is you go to bed for a certain number of hours, usually about 5 or 6. You're supposed to wake up for an hour, meditate or drink some tea or something, do some yoga stretches, and then go back to bed. And interrupting your sleep like that and focusing, say, your thoughts or your intention on what you want to connect with will help you lucid dream. So I do that, and it helps me facilitate communication with these beings. You can, it's like when you set up an appointment with someone on a calendar, like, hey, I would really love to meet with you at this date, at this time. And the dream world's really fun because you can kind of construct the space that, you want to dream in and think about where you want to meet. And if you're in vibrational alignment with them, you can make contact with different species or perhaps with different versions of yourself who live on other planets and things. So that's my favorite way to do it because you can defy the current laws of physics that we understand. Maybe you can fly in your dreams and just have really cool adventures with these beings where you're not limited by your physical form.
Does that include other types of beings as well? Is that how you like to communicate with them? Whether it's, what did we say? We talked about Gorgon Medusa. I don't even know what Selkies are. You're going to have to explain that. Or Kraken or some of these other types of entities?
Yeah, I dream with them too sometimes. So a Selkie would be like, they kind of look like seals. They're like seal people. They're very social and they love to build community. So that's something that I really like about them because that's something we as humans need to remember how to do. We have to remember how to build community and, kind of construct the ideas of a new Earth. So I think that that's the gift that they bring. And then Krakens, I think most people think of those as, the massive sort of octopi people.
Yeah.
And yeah, they seem to be related in a way to a lot of starseedy offshoots. I'm not sure about their whole, taxonomical family history and all those different branches, but there's some big starseed connections there. But Krakens tend to clear, I call them Krakens. That's probably not even the best word. I just don't have a better word for them yet, but they kind of clear energy and they keep a record of deaths at sea and things like that. They're kind of like the keepers of the gates in a way of the astral ocean. So I think that they're pretty cool. They're scary to meet sometimes at first because they're so big in the astral realm, but they're very amiable beings when you settle yourself and you sit and you truly feel the core of their essence.
Well, everything you've talked about has been interesting and quite fascinating. The book, How to Be a Mermaid, is available where? And you've mentioned your website a few times. I don't have it written down here. So what's the website address as well?
Yeah, so my mermaid website is thesedonamermaid.com. And I have a lot of different things on there, resources. I've got a blog. I do talk about some social issues on there. So, come prepared for that. I talk about some spiritual challenges in Sedona and things like that. But I also go into mermaid stuff. So that's where you can find that. You can find my book. You can go to my website where I have some links there. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble. And you can also buy it through Inner Traditions, who's my publisher. So
anything else going on?
Lots of different places you can find it.
Other projects in the works that you want to share with us, Elle, or should we just be happy that we've done this so far and wait and not push you into something else?
Oh no, keep pushing me. I probably need it. I'll probably end up reaching out to some newsletters and journals to publish some poetry in the near future. I'm almost done with a more human book. It's not as spiritual. It's just talking through like my religious upbringing and how to heal from, that kind of trauma and things like that. And then I am really excited. It's one of those things that I never expected to happen, but my book is winning an award in June through
awesome.
through Cover. Yeah, so it's like the Coalition of Visionary Resources. I don't know what the award is yet, but I just call it the little book that could. But it's nice to be
the little book
seen
that could. I love it.
All right, so Britt, before we let Elle go, who were we talking to on the show very recently? One of our guests who has a trip. They're doing a trip to Sedona. Remember?
Oh yeah, that was Kimberly
McGeorge.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that who
Yeah,
it was?
she's going out there for I think so. The old
spiritual retreat. A spiritual retreat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, totally.
Really
yeah,
cool.
we talked about going out there with her.
Yeah, she wanted us to go. Do you know who that is? Kimberly McGeorge, Elle? Does that name ring any bells?
I haven't. I haven't heard of her. But hey, if you guys come out here, I'd love to, catch up. Maybe we can meet somewhere and hang out. That would be really neat.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think she may have regretted the invitation after she made it because Britt actually sounded like he was going to take her up on it. She's like, whoa, I didn't really mean it. I was just kidding. No, I don't know.
Sedona's only like a 6-hour drive for me, so, it's not that far.
Well, that's awesome. Well, do it. You can, you know what? If something falls through, you can come to my place and hang out and meet my partner and see some of the water sites out here.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
That sounds
hell
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
I would
great,
love
Elle.
to do that water slide, the rock water slide thing. I've never done. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, we'll have to go really early because it's packed out, but it's worth it. It's fun.
Okay, Britt, stop. Calm down.
Do you have big property? Calm down. I'm setting up my vacation right now. What are you talking about? Calm down. Because I have a travel trailer. I don't even need to be in your house.
Elon Musk, I got him all fired up. This is my fault.
Yeah, you did, Elle. This is all your fault.
That was me. Yeah. My house is very normal, human-sized house. I do have a backyard that greatly needs some yard work. But yeah, I mean, it's got enough space for all of us. And I truly mean this invitation, I will happily be your tour guide and show you around. So yeah, if you need a reason to come out, come on out.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And by the way, Iowa Joe in our YouTube chat is issuing a warning. He says, you got to treat Britt like a vampire. You never invite him into the house. I don't think truer words have ever been spoken. Elle, thank you for coming back. Thank you for coming back to the show. We appreciate it. And you are such a great spokesperson for all these ideas, and we appreciate your insight and your time.
Oh, thank you. I love you guys so much. It was great to be here, and I really appreciate you guys too.
Yeah, and we'll look forward
to meeting you, Elle.
Yeah, we'll look forward to having you back sometime.
Too, Brett.
All right, take care. And have a great summer. Sorry as summer gets here.
You too. You guys take care. Thank you so much.
All right. So, Britt, you just invited yourself to Sedona. You're bringing a trailer.
Totally
you're going to like Cousin Eddie showing up with a camper, and you're going to park the camper in the driveway, and God knows how long you're going to stay there. Oh man.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going. I mean, I'm absolutely going. I mean, I'm going. I mean, my dad lives in St. George, Utah, and he's always telling me to come out there. And there's campsites everywhere. I mean, I don't need to park in her front lawn. I mean, come on, I got a little more class than that. I can find a campsite down around the corner, but sometimes, most of the time, if I like you, I do. But no, totally, that'd be amazing. Hey, I can then check off my bucket list. I got a tour of Sedona, Arizona by a mermaid.
Yeah, no,
who the hell can check that off
Who has that on their bingo card? I mean, that's not one of those things you put on a list because you don't ever think that's on your list. A tour of Sedona by a mermaid, that was on your list before you knew Elle was going to be a guest. That was on your list.
No, not at all. Right. I added it to my list right now.
I figured you did. Okay, so that's a little different. All right, yeah. Wow.
That was not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. It was totally cool and totally sane and totally rational, and it makes sense. And
I think I told you. I think I said Elle presents this stuff in such a first of all matter-of-fact way, but also just in a way that's easy to understand. And she is an excellent spokesperson for these ideas, and that's why I really liked having her back.
She had those cool headset with the little cat ears on top.
Yeah,
it was like, does she game?
I think
we should have asked her that. Does she game? It looks like a gaming headset.
I asked her that last time, and I don't remember the answer. I think she plays like Sims or something along those lines. I don't remember specifically, but I did ask her that during the last interview we did.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. I don't know. I guess
I wonder if she could teach me to hold my breath longer than 30 seconds.
4 minutes. Wow.
4 minutes. How the hell do you do that for 4 minutes?
I know. And you got what, 38 seconds? How far did you get?
No, 30. 30. At 28 seconds, I thought I was going to pass out, so I decided to breathe.
Well, our lung capacity is not what it used to be. I can tell you that much.
I don't think it was ever 4 minutes.
No, never 4 minutes. I know I think I could go like a minute and a half, I think is what I remember doing. I know I took some I don't know if it was lifeguard training, whatever it was, where you had to be able to hold your breath for at least a minute underwater, that kind of thing. Used to do that, but wow.
Yeah, I would fail. I would totally fail. Sorry, you're drowning, dude.
There must have been a time you could hold your breath for a minute.
Maybe when I was younger, but definitely not right now.
Yeah, no, not right now. No, I actually have trouble completing a sentence without have taken another breath at this point. And I don't know if I don't know if COVID. I think absolutely COVID did this to me, but I don't know if it was the disease itself or the fact that for going on 3 years now, I haven't done anything. I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't played any gigs.
Which is part of COVID.
Yeah, I haven't played any gigs, and I used to be able to sing. Well, I can still sing, but I used to be able to, take my breathing was part of my singing process, and I could sing whole verses, without having to worry about taking breaths in appropriate times. Yeah, and I can't do that.
I am absolutely sure. Yeah, I'm absolutely sure that the sedentary lifestyle for the last 2.5-3 years is a big part of the problem.
Yeah,
I mean, I just read a research paper that's saying that the children, the elementary level children, they are at the same level of development before COVID. Like this whole shutdown and school learning from remote, they haven't developed at all.
Right. It was like a suspension of time.
They're getting fatter and the health is getting worse. And because we locked everybody up. Yeah, I hate our fucking government. Anyway, don't get me going.
Yeah, so
trivia time?
Yeah, I think it's time to do some trivia. But yeah, the whole
Or do you have other stuff?
No, I don't have anything else. I think it's time for trivia.
I will tell you the brisket that I smoked on Monday. Oh my God, amazing. I started at 12:30 at night, midnight basically, and every hour I got up to put a little spray on it. It was the best food I have ever made in my entire life. Because of that barbecue that you make fun of.
No, I'm not making fun of it, Britt. I'm just saying it's not really barbecuing. It's more of a kind of an automated robot, artificial intelligence created something. It's not quite the same as being out there with a spatula flipping burgers. It's not the same thing. It's a different thing. It's not any worse. It's just different.
True. But the food was amazing.
I'm glad.
Like
I'm glad
to die for.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I made macaroni and cheese. I was pretty pleased with that.
Did you really?
No, I didn't. But I love macaroni and cheese.
I did make macaroni and cheese, and I smoked it on the barbecue.
You've been smoking something. There's something.
Oh, I smoke everything now.
Yeah. Okay, trivia time. Trivia time. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. First question. Since 1973, the Downtown Hotel in Dawson City, a town situated along the Yukon River in Canada, has been serving a specialty drink, the sour toe cocktail. What goes into a sour toe cocktail? And how would we know this? There's got to be some connection.
So repeat the whole damn question.
Since 1973, okay, that's probably an important piece of information. 1973, something happened in 1973. Since 1973, the Downtown Hotel in Dawson City, a town situated along the Yukon River in Canada, has been serving a specialty drink, the sour toe cocktail. What goes into a sour toe cocktail?
Toe jam? Tito's vodka.
See.
And lime juice.
Yeah, okay, so you're going with the toe jam. You're going to take it literally, sour toe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because why else would you call it sour toe unless you're putting some sour, funky toe crap
like
in it?
I said, I think that probably 1973 is an important piece of information in this trivia question. What happened in Canada, particularly, maybe the Yukon River in 1973?
I don't know. Do you have an idea of what happened in 73?
I'm racking my brain to try to come up with something that makes sense, and I'm not coming up with anything.
Toe jam.
Steph said it's a
Making the toe
dehydrated
jam-
toe, a severed toe, a toe for real. All these people are saying it's actually a toe. Oh, is that the drink they put an actual human toe in?
Maybe it's not, but maybe we're being
Where do
too
they
little
get
as a
human
human.
toes?
Maybe
Where do they get human toes from?
Well, from the morgue. Where else?
They go to the morgue and take people's toes?
Yeah. You just get it. You get a big set of plant shears, from shrubbery.
Please
you just
tell
go
me.
through and you just.
Please tell me that they just dip the toe in and then take it out, but they're not putting severed toes in there.
Well, what if it's not a human toe? What if it's like a frog toe or a bird toe? Something exotic like that goes in it.
Maybe, but everybody in our chat is saying a human toe. So that's a human toe.
I
is
love
a human
everybody.
toe.
I love our chat. You were so offended that I was going down the Toe Jam human toe road, and you were like, "Oh, Muffy, that's not right." And our chat is on my side, and we all went disgusting with human toes.
Yeah, but you were more disgusting with toe jam.
Well, if the toe jam is on the severed toe, it's going in the drink.
Oh, man. Okay. Again, our question is, since 1973, the Downtown Hotel in Dawson City, a town situated along the Yukon River in Canada, has been serving a specialty drink, the sour toe cocktail. What goes into a sour toe cocktail, you ask?
Yes, I do ask. Well, really, you asked.
Oh, my God. Okay, so our answer is, Yukon Jack whiskey, and a dehydrated human toe. People who lose their toes sometimes donate them to the Downtown Hotel for use in the unusual drink. Are you flipping kidding me? I can't imagine they serve more than 2 or 3 of these drinks in any given year. B, even if they serve only 2 or 3 drinks, how do they get 2 or 3 severed toes sent to them in the course of a year?
Well, it just said it. People donated.
Oh, I know. But how did more than 2 or 3 people donate a severed toe to the Downtown Hotel in Dawson City in a given year? First of all, most people that lose a toe don't keep it to send it to somebody.
If they know about Dawson's Creek, they might.
Not Dawson's Creek. That's a TV show.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. Dawson's Creek.
Oh, Randall says they reuse them.
Oh, maybe there you go. There you go. How would Randall know that?
Okay, let me ask the third obvious question here. Why the hell would anybody order that? Would you order a sour toe?
Well, back that question up.
Yeah.
Back that question up even further. How did they come up with that? Why?
Yeah, so
why would they do that?
Some bartender was sitting around and said, okay, well, how can we make this drink extra special, unique? And it just so happened that Tommy, the daytime bartender, got his toe chopped off because the ice machine fell on it earlier that day, and the toe was still lying under the ice machine. So Billy, the night bartender, picked it up and put it in a drink.
I have a more plausible idea. What if there was an accident at the whiskey barreling thing, and in a particular vat, a toe, someone lost a digit, a big toe. It ended up in there fermenting with it.
And the Yukon Jack?
That goes out to this Yukon Jack at the factory, whatever. And that goes out to that particular hotel.
Yeah.
And, they crack it, and it tastes different. It's like, whoa, this is a little, they don't know why. But people are like, oh, I want that barrel. That barrel has a nice little kick to it. You know, I'm just saying. I mean, think about it. There's a nice little kick to it. So, and then they didn't figure it out until when the barrel was empty and they went to roll it. It's like a thump, the thump, the thump. The toe was inside of it as they rolled the barrel out. So they open it up and they see it's a human toe. And they're like, the human toe gave the Yukon Jack this special kick. This is our special drink.
Wow, Britt, you just painted that whole picture, didn't you? You just went from start to finish and every little nuance of the process here that could have created the sour toe cocktail. And I keep
That's what I'm going with. Someone look that up on the interwebs and let us know.
I have to be careful because I keep almost using the word camel in that phrase, and I don't mean to.
Camel toe? No, that's a different kind of toe.
That's a different cocktail.
Completely different kind of toe with a completely different kind of taste.
It's a different cocktail. All right, next question. Here we go.
Yes.
The song Both Sides Now was a career-defining hit for singer-songwriter Judy Collins when she recorded it in 1967. However, Collins didn't write the song. Who did?
What's the name of the song?
Both Sides Now. I look at love from both sides now.
I'm going to go with 67. Oh, boy. Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, huh? That's an interesting guess. That's very interesting, actually. Randall Flagg asks Paul McCartney. Toey says Carole King.
Oh, could be Carole King. That's another good one.
Randy Newman, always a good answer. Randy Newman is a prolific songwriter for a lot of different people. Rebel says the writer of the song wrote it, of course. That's a good one. The song Both Sides Now. Both Sides Now.
Of the song.
Both Sides Now was a career-defining hit for singer-songwriter Judy Collins when she recorded it in 1967. However, Collins didn't write the song. Who did?
We got Joni Mitchell. We got Randy Newman. We got Bing Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
Who else we got going on here? Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. We got a Graham Nash. Okay, well let's look at it. I don't know who this is going to be. Oh, it was somebody had it here. Who had it? Debbie Warren had it. Joni Mitchell wrote it. The funny thing is I always confuse Joni Mitchell and Judy Collins. I always confuse the two of them. And Phoebe Snow gets right in there too. I don't know. They're just similar styles. I couldn't even tell you what they look like. I mean, I know I probably could point them out, but anyway, it was Joni Mitchell who released her own recording of the song on her album Clouds 2 years later. So Joni Mitchell.
No.
Also wrote Big Yellow Taxi.
I'll buy that for $1.
Big Yellow Taxi.
Big Yellow Taxi.
No, she wrote that.
Oh boy.
Joni Mitchell. I think she did. Anyway, final question for Scooter to give him 3. Here we go. In the Austin...
Scooter always wants a threesome.
I know.
What the hell?
I know. Scooter is not on this question. In the Austin Powers films, the nefarious Dr. Evil owns a hairless Sphinx cat. What is the real name of the cat featured in the films? Does that mean that the cat, like the actual cat, when it goes home, this is its name as an actor cat?
Yes.
Or are we talking about what is the cat?
They're going for.
Oh, okay. Not what the cat is named.
What is the cat's real name?
Okay.
Yeah. They're asking what its birth name is.
It's got to be Fluffy. It's got to be.
That would make sense. Yeah. Right? Or Harry.
Who names a cat Harry?
You name a bald cat Harry.
I'm going to go with Fluffy.
Yeah. But I think you're onto it with Fluffy.
Mr. Cuddle Muffin, Jinx the cat, Naked Nancy, Mr. Wiggles. Fringe Dweller says there's a donation option on your driver's license for toes. Fringe? For toes? Want to donate them to the downtown hotel?
I think that's just in general. I wonder if the hotel can just call the donation center and go, "Hey, do you have any toes laying around?"
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe in Canada they have a checkbox in there that you can say, okay, if I lose a toe or I'm in an accident and I don't make it, please donate my toes. I mean, you get 10 in a one person accident, you get 10 toes. That's good for 10 drinks. I imagine that's going to fill their orders for a year. A toe isn't an organ. Yeah, you're right, Randall, but that's a technicality. All right. Question is, in the Austin Powers films, the nefarious Dr. Evil owns a hairless Sphinx cat. What is the real name of the cat featured in the film? Oh, my God.
Is it Fluffy?
It's not Fluffy, and nobody got it. I don't see anybody with anything even close.
What is it, like George?
It's actually named after somebody. It's named after a celebrity.
Male or female?
It's a play on the name of a male celebrity.
Older or newer generation?
I'd say this celebrity is probably older, although pretty notorious even now. For actually more notorious now because of their involvement in politics than what they're originally known for, which
would it be like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
It would be like that. That's not who it is though in this case.
William Foyt? Wait. No. Winston Churchill, Telly Savalas, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, this celebrity's still alive.
Still alive.
Yes.
Notable movies like A-list level?
I didn't say movies. I said celebrity. I didn't say movies.
Okay. Movies, TV. We got Jane Fonda. We got Gorbachev. Arnie.
If I say what they're known for, it's going to give it away immediately.
All right. Well, is anybody getting it yet in chats?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Remember what I said, though?
Right.
What they're more Barack Meowba. Remember what I said they were known for more now?
More normal, and they're alive, so it's not Sonny Bono.
Right. Yeah, I didn't say they were elected to anything. I didn't say they were elected.
All right, but they were a celebrity, not necessarily movies. They're known more now for politics. Would it be like play on Donald Trump's name?
No.
Okay, politics. Kane. So breaking the image goes with.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna have to give it away because I don't think anybody's going to go in the right direction.
Just give another hint.
Another hint.
Right, give another hint.
There's a fierce debate going on right now. Is it
Elon Musk?
That this celebrity would be participating in. It's not Elon Musk.
Is it not Elon Musk? A fierce debate if they would be participating in politics.
Yeah, I didn't say elected.
No, but they're participating, whether they run or not, type of thing. Would it be national politics or local politics?
Nationally politically active, but
it's not that guy that was
for a cause. For a cause, not just in general.
For a cause. Not William Dafoe. What the hell is his name? He's in.
All right, here's another clue. One of the things this celebrity is known for from their celebrity craft, from what they do as what their celebrity is about, actually makes this make a lot of sense. I don't. Again, I'm trying not to just give it away completely. Shoot. All right, forget it. We're just gonna give the answer. Okay, so it's a musician. Does that help?
It's a musician who is dabbling in politics or going full-throated into politics.
Who's active for a particular cause.
Particular cause.
We got the cookie slinger.
Matt Couch is in the house.
We got the cookie slinger in the Foxhole chat.
The cookie slinger. He's an artist. He's a musician for a cause. Willie Nelson, a play on Willie Nelson's name?
No, somebody got it. Somebody got
marijuana?
It. Somebody got it. Somebody did get it.
Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent.
Yeah. And he does have a cause.
Okay, so Matt says it rhymes with nugget, sort of.
Butt nugget?
So the name of the cat is not Ted Nugent, it's Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent. Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery was Ted's silver screen debut. That took a long time to get to that answer. Nice job, Randall, for coming up with it.
It was fun watching you struggle.
I was struggling? I was trying to figure out why you couldn't get it. I gave you all the information.
Hey, because you weren't giving good enough hints.
Probably. I mean, obviously, Ted Nugent is a strong Second Amendment supporter. There's a very fierce Second Amendment debate going on right now. So I thought that I was going to give it to you when I said it was something that was fierce debate going on right now.
Did you see the tweet that David Hogg put out? How many AR-15s did Jesus own? And I don't know who it was, but someone responded right back to him, not enough to keep his government from murdering him.
Nice.
So true.
Wow, that's funny. All right, guys. I should have phoned the kid. He's been studying the Trivial Pursuit cards. You know what's funny about the Trivial Pursuit cards? The original ones, they're so outdated. So many of the questions are no longer valid. There's a lot of questions about the Soviet Union in the Trivial Pursuit cards. It's kind of funny when you see how much times have changed in a trivia sense. It's really funny. Hey, Fringe Dweller, thank you for the contribution to the gold pills. Thank you very, very much for that. We appreciate it. And you too, Matt Couch, Cookie Slinger. Oh, Couch is throwing another cookie around. Look at him go. Look at him go. He buys them by the gross. He buys the cookies by the gross.
And he's telling everybody I only listen to Spice Girls. How does he know that? How is he spying on me?
Everybody knows that, Britt, about you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. Right, Thank you for being here. Thank you again to Elle, the mermaid. Her full name is Elyrria Swann. Her book is called How to Become a Mermaid. You can find it on Amazon. Her website is thesedonamermaid.com if you want more information about her work. And I'm sure we'll have her back on the program at some point. We've got a lot of great other great guests coming, so just check in with us Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
Right. And, if you want some great merch, go to paranormalirl.com, paranormalirl.com, find the merch tab. And if you go there, there's a bunch of shirts, ghosty shirts, UFO shirts, Bigfoot shirts, etc. I might have to make a mermaid shirt somehow and get that up. But there's some great merch there, and it helps support the show because all of the stuff that we do costs quite a bit of money, actually, every month because everything's subscription now. You can't just buy anything. And, please help support the show. We greatly appreciate it. And we love that you guys are still here watching us and listening to us.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.